Now that I had finally arrived in Baghdad, I felt as deflated as a punctured tire. The trashed complex in front of me was the last thing I had expected. Had I travelled 4,000 miles, spent countless hours on the phone with officials from 4 different countries, and bulldozed my way through red tape just to arrive at this? One glance at the bomb-blasted rubble in the park around the zoo showed with stark clarity that the mountain of bureaucracy I had faced in crossing the Iraq border was merely a pimple compared to what lay ahead. Seeing the look on my face, Lieutenant Brian Shadlack nodded grimly. "Not too good, huh?" He then quizzed me at length about our journey, and I could tell he was impressed we had made it all the way from Kuwait in a civilian car unscathed. We might be mad or stupid, but at least we were serious. However, our main attraction as far as he was concerned was that we were taking a major hassle off his hands. The zoo and its pitiful inhabitants were in his zone of command, and it was a non-military problem he needed like a hole in the head. "You sure you're going to take charge of these animals?" he asked me again. I nodded. "The coalition guys in Kuwait told you to do that?" I continued nodding, and tapped my authorization papers. He beamed and shook my hand once more. It was the first time since I had arrived in Iraq that I felt really welcome. It seemed that all the banging on bureaucratic doors from South Africa to Kuwait to get here could even have been worthwhile after all. "We'll help all we can, but there's still a war on," he said. "Thanks. We're going to need it." Brian Shadlack was a professional soldier, and damn proud of it. Like all good commanders, he held the safety of his men paramount. He had done what he could to keep the zoo's creatures alive, but in a combat zone, this was a distraction he could ill afford in case it endangered the lives of his troops. As we were speaking, a stocky, middle-aged Iraqi man approached us. His hair was ash-grey and his face crumpled with exhaustion. But when he smiled, you could see humour light up his eyes. Shadlack waved him over. "This is Hosham Hossan, the deputy director of the Baghdad Zoo, or what's left of it." Dr. Hosham Mohammed Hossan's face was a portrait of slack-jawed disbelief as we shook hands, and I explained my mission. He could not believe a foreigner had come all the way from the far end of Africa to help his humble zoo. How the hell had I even known about them? When I opened the trunk of my rental car and showed him the medicines we had brought from across the border, courtesy of the Kuwait City Zoo, he grabbed my hand and wept.